Hello, my name is Tammy McKenzie. I'm the director of the Aula Fellowship. We're a horizontally organized organization. We're a horizontal organization. What does that mean? It means that we distribute decision making based on qualifications within the organization and not based on authority and not based on elite status symbols or even elite education or specialties. You may be the greatest rocket scientist in your field in a generation. Nonetheless, when we're taking decisions as a collective, you and everybody else has to learn to make the difference between us as a member of the organization and us as somebody who brings our specialty to the organization. Typically what that means is that in a room, if you're the most powerful person, you should be speaking less than the others. If it's a discussion, if you're producing information for them, of course, until question period, you should be the one doing the speaking. But if you're asking questions, you need to be listening more than the people who have less power than you, because that's the only way to hear them. So in terms of organization, we've drawn on for operations as well as culture, we've drawn from a few traditions of horizontal decision making. And they have some details. So there's some, for example, the Haudenosaunee Great Law of Peace, which has a requirement, which has a regulation that every encounter between people who are going to take a decision together is preceded by words of thankfulness for our connection to each other, for our connection to the creation that is all around us, to our connection to the past, to the people of the future. These things come before every decision making so that as a process, when we're in the room, we remember that we're also representing many, 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 many more people who don't get to the room. This encourages, again, the idea that we all have to be heard in these conversations. Other examples over time have included holacracy or sociocratic decision-making in programming companies. They've developed something called agile methodology and other methodologies that allowed them to operate large groups of people on big projects over time in a kind of flexible way so that they didn't have to be bogged down by the slowness of hierarchies. There's some things in hierarchies that are slower, which is when decision-making has to go through each level. There's some things in hierarchies that are much faster, which is those decisions that the people at higher levels can take because they have fewer people to consult on them. So to deal with this, we do something like they do in democratic schools. So it's a question of consent and qualification. When somebody is going to say, I have an authority over this decision, the authority that they have in the Aula Fellowship is vested in them by the qualifications they have to take that position. I'll give you a simple example. For example, if you were to walk into a new office and it's your first day and you've never been there before and there's a public phone there and you're told, there's no receptionist, we all share responsibility for answering the phone. If the phone rang on your first day, you would not feel qualified to answer it. Well, you might, but I wouldn't. I'd think, and I've been a receptionist, I'd think, how do I answer the phone? What name of the company do I give? Hello, welcome to, do I say good day? Who do I transfer calls to? Who answers different types of calls? How does the phone system work? So I would not be qualified on that first day. However, there's nothing that says that I need the boss to come and qualify me for it. In fact, all I need is somebody who's already qualified on that device, on the ways, which button do I push, who do I send the calls to? That person who's qualified is also qualified to show you how to do it. So our horizontal system is based on this recognition between us of the things that we can do and the roles that we take on in the fellowship. Our badge system is based on this. It's not a learning system, it's a doing system. And we've also got regular practices of handing power back. So this idea when you're in a room of thinking in terms of your own power, acknowledging it, acknowledging those bits of power that you might have that might be assumed socially in the situation, and handing it back. Handing it back because it's much harder for people to take it than it is for somebody in the room to hand it to them. So to that effect, as Aula Fellows and as the director of the Aula Fellowship, I invite you at any time to get in touch and let me know if I'm overstepping. Because we can't always see it. That's just the reality of it. We're aiming for horizontal. I should add that the reason we're aiming for horizontal is because it makes better decisions fit to the group. We're looking for consensus across society on the hard questions of AI. We're looking to build conversations where we build legitimacy around consensus answers. The only way to do that is to set the stage, be available with our information, but to stay at an even power level so that we can hear everybody, because otherwise it shuts voices down, and we will not succeed in our mission if we can't hear people and their needs. Thank you.